Hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here. And today's video is not really going to be a tutorial, but it's going to be just the start of something that Joe and I will be doing together. And we're going to be documenting the process. The biggest challenge is not doing the thing. It's going to be his inner critic, because he's never been on camera for this type of thing before. So anyways, I'm going to start off by telling you exactly how this started, where it's going, and where we're ending up. And it's going to take a while because the process, what he's going to be going through, the actual technical part, which I'll talk about, is going to take probably a couple of months. So I'll be posting updates. So last year, Joe built a frame. And the idea started off, it was going to be an outdoor panel for our fence as a focal point, as a feature wall. And I think it's 3 feet high by, I think, 5 feet wide. And it's outside framed. And then he did very, very thin slats. And the idea was to wood burn some type of wildlife. And we were going to pick Canadian wildlife. Basically, it's going to be, we're going to take a wolf. Well, he was going to take a wolf, probably a polar bear, and the other animal is a cat, a goose, but it doesn't have the same meaning. So we may take, I don't know, a moose or a deer or something like that, and would burn that, and possibly then take some acrylics. Or I wanted to use actual colored stain, but he's thinking acrylics and to add some color, and then a gazillion layers of varathane. That was the project, that was the idea for last year. This year, how we're going to change it up, the whole wood burning thing is still going to take place, except we're going to do a test on using resin instead. He just wants to use a whole bunch of varathane, which is fine. I'm going to do a test on resin. And what was really weird is that we were working out the actual logistics of the project on how to get it started. And then I got an email from Stencil Revolution, they're in Florida, to take a look at some of their stencils. Yeah, okay. So I picked out 3 stencils, and I told them about the idea that Joe and I were working on. And holy cow, you guys have got to see this. Okay, so, forewarning, I'm not getting paid to do this review, but I did get the stencils at no charge to review. But I would have bought these anyways because they are amazing. So let's go down to the table just so you can see them. What you're going to see first is going to be, okay, what's the big... Then we're going to go to the floor, and I'll show you. So come down the table. So look at these stencils, how detailed they are, and absolutely stunning. So the ones that I picked were basically this nice buck, a lion, and a tiger. And so Joe and I were playing, and he was coming up with some ideas. I'll just bring out these pieces here. So he was coming out with ways to incorporate the stencil into the burning. So he worked out an outline just to kind of jog some ideas. Then he went to doing this. Then I said, well, why don't you instead, we take a look at taking the stencil, adding color, so a colored stain. So we're going to be doing this on scrap wood to start, to stain the wood for the actual base. And then he said, well, let's just outline it. And I'm like, well, I'm thinking of just adding the color, and then using the burning tool, which is razor tools, and just then using the fine tip and just putting the actual strokes for the shadowing. So he kind of liked that idea. Keeping in mind, Joe can build the stuff, but doing the wood burning and the detail staining and all this stuff is completely new to him. So not only am I going to document it for basically if anybody else wants to try it, it's basically his inner critic to crush. And when he sees his videos, I don't have an inner critic. But anyway, so these are the stencils. So the initial one that I'm looking at for, which would look nice, is this one here's got the most power. But other than this one, none of these are Canadian animals, Canadian wildlife. But this is a good start because this is probably the worst case scenario for the amount of detail. Not so much this, but this is the worst case scenario for detail, which would be good practice for him. So the idea is to use a color, my idea, his project, but my idea would be to use a colored stain on this and then wood burn the actual detail. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll do a small version of this just to show him because the way I have my mind works creatively is I actually have to show the process. So I'll be showing you guys that as well. Not in this video, this is just a chit chat video. But colored stain on this, and when I think of the colored stain, DecoArt has some really, really, really cool colored stains. So I think I'm going to go straight to that to try. Because when I go to places like Home Depot and Lowe's and tell them what I want for, they don't know. They're not creative people. You go there, you tell them what you want, and they mix it up, and that's it. And there's no fault of their own. That's their job. But when I'm talking about, taking a color stain onto wood and then burning all that stuff, they could look at me with a blank look on their face. So you need to talk to professionals who are in the industry, because then if they don't know, like I'll contact DecoArt, and if Rosemary doesn't know, then she will contact the developers, the chemists, and all that stuff to get answers for me. So it's really good to talk to the professionals. So whatever brands you're using, just go right to the top and ask questions, because working small is great. Like when I talk about doing studies and experiments and that, when you're working large scale 3x5 feet, there's no room for mistakes, because when you're doing wood burning, you have to sand, and you can't sand just one spot depending on because the stain is in there, we have to sand the whole thing. So what I want to do now is I'm going to have to turn the camera off, reassemble everything to go down to the floor to see, and that's where the magic's going to happen. All right, look at the size of this stencil. I hope you guys can hear me because my microphone is about 2 feet away from me. Look at the size of this stencil. So I put a pen, my Staedtler pen, next to it just so you can see the size of this. Look at that. You get the full appreciation of the detail in the stencil. So this is the line. I mean, it is huge. I'm going to see if I can zoom out a bit. Oh, it is huge. So that's that stencil. Now let me get the other ones. So I had to move my light to hopefully you can see everything. Oh, and I think you've got too much glare there. Let's go this. But look at the size of that one. And there is that pen. It is huge. So I'm thinking if he was to use this on the feature wall, he just has to turn the panel so it's high instead of wide. And I'll talk about the sizes of these stencils in a minute. Now let me go get the other one, which is the buck. And here's the buck. He's big too. Absolutely beautiful. So he's going to have to do a little bit of changing on how he wants to do the panel. And I was going to suggest he could even do it two-sided. Now I'm going to grab my sheet to talk about the sizes of the stencils. Holy cow, it took more time doing the stencil work to position them than it did me recording this actual video. All right, so the sizes. Okay, so the little ones. So the lion, the little one, the tiger head is 6x6, but the actual big one is 25 inches by 25 inches. The lion stencil, 8.5 by 11 one, is 8.5 by 11, but the big one is 36 by 24. The deer is 5 by 6 inches, and the big one is 36 by 24. So I kind of lied when I said the magic's going to happen on the floor. Magic's not going to happen on the floor. The magic's going to happen when I try to get Joe on camera to try to do this. So I'd like to say now that I'm going to go and get him to come on camera just to talk about what he's doing. I don't think he's going to. So what I'll do is if he does, you'll see it after this. If he doesn't, then we'll see it in another video. Alrighty? So I'm going to go try and get him and see what happens. So hey everybody, so I got Joe on camera. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
He doesn't want to be here. No. He's going, what are you going to be asking me? What are you going to be asking me? I need to know what you're going to be asking me.
I don't do cameras.
So you guys have the gist of what I talked about, that this is not really about a project that I'm doing, although I did talk about how I'm going to use the small stencils to kind of mimic what Joe's going to be doing. And he's going to be doing it on a much larger scale. A question I had for you, and I know I had prepped the first question, but I changed my mind. the stencils that we're going to be that Stencil Revolution scent, I think, are pretty good for the wood burning skills, eh? Like for the lion and the tiger and that, more for burning.
More for the outline anyway.
Yeah.
Just to get the line working.
Yeah. Weren't we going to think about using more of a Canadian wildlife?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess these would be good for practice. Then we can see, like, we're thinking like a wolf, for sure, a wolf.
Yeah, we were thinking a wolf, something along the lines of a bear, deer, even a bird.
Not a Canada goose, though.
No, something more like the lines of, whether it's a hawk or an eagle or something.
Whatever
along
it is,
that
is
line.
native to Canada.
Whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever we can find around. Owls, again, another one. Like we saw the white snow owl across the street.
Yeah. Oh, you guys probably don't know. So they were. So who was doing the filming? Netflix?
No, Handmaid's Tale. They were doing the series.
But who's that? Is that a Netflix thing?
I don't think so.
So they were filming Handmaid's Tale, the last season, over across the street, and when we were walking through, it's nice because we actually saw how they tore up. What's the name?
Grenier, where they set it up for the
hanging,
the
hanging scenes. And Joe pointed over there was a snowy owl. Was it snowy owl, right?
White snow owl.
White snow owl
sitting on the fence.
He was just sitting there, and we're talking. That was so random. So we thought maybe the film crew had.
Well, yeah, because they're really not. Generally, they're going to be around where there's closer to water, like figuring down around the lake, not out in the city on the escarpment. But I guess they.
We thought one got loose, so and then we asked one of the crew, and they said no. So, but Canadian wildlife.
Yeah,
on
something
this thing.
like yeah.
Now, the actual frame piece. Now, I don't think I explained it right. So. How big is it? What did you make it out of?
It's about 2 foot by 4 foot.
Oh, it's 2 by. Okay, so I thought it was 3 by 5.
Yeah, no, it's about 2 by 4 roughly.
Was it made out of cedar?
The framing and the panels are cedar, cedar planks.
Now, so were you thinking about using one of these animals on that? Because we can always put that inside the house.
Because of the size of the larger ones, the one that's got the deer. Would be nice because it's the line work is not overly detailed and it's large enough where it's essentially going to fill probably almost the whole panel. The only difference is because of the size of the configuration, we'll not be able to do it as a landscape. It's going to have to be done as a portrait.
That's what I thought.
Or downscale the deer so that it fits the other way. Because ideally, what we were thinking of doing is maybe 3 animals on one panel. This way here.
The line would be really nice, eh?
Well, the line would be really nice, but again, still you're probably looking...
There you go, the line with the deer. Oh, that's mean.
Yeah.
That's mean.
What was the other one? There's the lion, there's the deer,
well, these 3 and the tiger head.
And the tiger head.
Yeah, but the Stencil Revolution has a lot, like so many stencils, and the quality is actually really, really good. It's a nice sturdy stencil. Now the wood burning, so you didn't get a lot of, like, we both grew up with the standard wood burning tool, which is a little pen. We both grew up using those.
Yeah, and don't have a lot of experience with this new.
He's graduated to razor tools.
Yeah, but it's essentially right now as a starter is really to get the line work in and then kind
Look
of
at the camera, not the display, the camera.
The line work in and then and then basically fill the rest in with we were thinking acrylic paint.
Well, I thought. Well, this is where I was telling everybody that I was going to probably with the line was actually to take cedar, whatever the same wood that you had, and basically I could put even just like a using a colored stain. I'm gonna see what DecoArt has as color stain because the stuff at Home Depot and Lowe's, like I was saying, they look at you with a blank look on their face when you kind of talk about colored stain and that they don't know. But the DecoArt color stain, because it has the different colors, that I can actually get, almost like with the grass, I can do like a really light stain of green and get then some brown tones in there, and then use the wood burning tool to actually burn in the shadows. Well,
actually, I was thinking of something different now, too. You want to change gears.
You're talking about me changing my mind?
What I was thinking is get the actual line work burned into it, And then what to do from there is actually resin coat it and add the resin dyes into certain areas. And then that way it's going to be weather sealed as well. And if we want, we can even actually turn that great thing into a tabletop.
Ooh.
Well, no, I mean, we're thinking of something for a table for outside anyway.
But if you burn it, so you're burning it to brown to almost brown black.
Yeah, but only the line work.
Only the line work. So
and then the body part is
I
where
see.
you would fill in with the coloring, but with the resin in that, you could even actually do some of the acrylic painting on them to get some shadowing in, and then resin coat it with, like you say, with different colors.
Yeah.
So, for example, adding a green mixture on the bottom, which would emulate grass or whatever, and some type of foliage.
Oh, anything with resin I love to do.
But then that way it's sealed in resin. It'll be weathered for outside.
I don't know for outside if it ecopoxy I don't know. The epoxy from Exotic Woods I don't know if that's rated for outdoor use. I don't know.
I'm thinking more along the lines
Our
of using
resin?
the one that the tabletop.
Well, they're all they could copy for it, but
Yeah,
but the
but
art resin I think might be because it's UV.
Would have to be UV anyway, so that it doesn't fade. Well, mind you,
It's the heat. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the heat because resin's plastic, so it'll melt, but melt like really high temperatures. But
Yeah, it shouldn't
I
for
don't know.
outside.
But indoor would be nice.
Yeah.
To replace the tabletop for a harvest table.
Yeah, could use it for a harvest table. Yeah.
But yeah, so okay. See, it wasn't so bad being on camera.
No. Okay.
Okay, now he wants to leave. All right, you guys. So that's it. So just wanted to talk about what we're going to be working on. We're working on it together. But I'll be doing my piece with the small stencil, fully documented, and then Joe's part, because it's going to take a lot of experimenting to get the right technique down. His will be over a couple months. So what I'll do is I'll post updates. As he does them, like little snippets in that. Because with the plan that he's working on with wood burning, the actual wood burning, we're talking hundreds of hours.
It's going to take a long time for the actual burning
probably
because of the size of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like working on something that maybe 6 inches by 6 inches. We're talking something that's 2 feet by almost 4 feet.
So I'll post little updates and stuff like that. And so everybody, I want you to give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this and comment below to encourage Joe to, yes, it's okay to be on camera.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right, you guys. So until I see you next time, stay inspired.